On October 22nd, 1989, 11-year-old Jacob Wetterling rode his bike to the local video store in St. Joseph, Minnesota. He had such a lovely time with his best friend and young brother at the store, but what he didn't know was that was going to be his last happy moment. On his way home, he was abducted and never seen alive again. His best friend and young brother ran when the masked individual told them to run away while holding a gun to them. Police teamed up with the FBI as they believed his disappearance was connected to a chain of recent cases in the same region involving child sexual assault that wasn't solved. The FBI were confident that their incidents were connected. They had a list of suspects and they questioned a local man named Danny Henrich within months of his disappearance. While they took samples of his DNA at this point, testing methods weren't standardized yet. When it came to 2015, that's when the truth came out. After the testing, they matched Danny's DNA to the sexual assault of another boy just miles away from where Jacob was last seen. By this point, the statute of limitations for this crime had expired a long time ago, but police managed to get a search warrant for Danny's home and found a shocking scene. Jacob was born on February 17, 1978, in Long Prairie, Minnesota. He had a lovely childhood with his younger brother Trevor. Their parents Jerry and Patty gave them free rein to be outdoors and ride their bikes with other kids, as that's what their generation was like for them. On October 22, 1989, Patty wanted her kids to stay home. She and her husband were at a dinner party when Jacob called her at 9 p.m. to ask if they could ride to the video store. It was already dark outside and the boys would need to leave their little sister Carmen alone at home, so Patty said no. The boys then called their father to try and convince him. They assured him they would wear reflective vests and use flashlights, since it was a mile-long bike ride to the store. As for their sister, they said that they would get 14-year-old neighbour to babysit. Jerry agreed, so off the brothers went and his best friend Aaron joined them. After renting a movie, they wanted to make their way home. They hadn't got far because a masked man emerged from a driveway. He told them to get off their bikes and lie face down on the ground. He then asked them how old they were. Trevor was 10 years old and was told to run into the woods and not look back or he'd be shot. The man then told Jacob and Aaron to turn around so he could look at their faces before telling 11-year-old Aaron to leave as well. Trevor and Aaron rushed home to tell neighbours, but it was too late. Jacob would never be seen again. The neighbours spoke to his parents and the police. Officers reported within 6 minutes they began searching for Jacob, both from the ground and by helicopter. They didn't find anything. 2 months later, the FBI and the National Guard had joined in searching. Residents founded the Friends of Jacob Wetterling Centre and received 1,000 applications to help send out flyers to raise awareness. Donations to the centre went together with a reward and the police received so many tips. The FBI questioned Danny on December 16, 1989, but released him without charges after taking a DNA sample. Decades passed by now with no arrest for the crime until an amateur sleuth, Joey Baker, got involved. Joy was 22 years old when Jacob went missing and she wrote her first blog post about the case in 2010. She became invested in the case when she had seen his parents on television, completely heartbroken. It didn't take her long as she focused on Jared Sherrill. Jared was 12 years old when he was abducted and molested by a masked man on Jan 1989. The suspect had threatened him with a gun and told him to run off without looking back or he would shoot him. Joy believed these cases were linked and because it was within 10 miles of where Jacob was taken. Joy's work gained the attention it needed when she and Jared were interviewed on TV in 2014 on a show called The Hunt. Authorities discovered that the unidentified DNA from Jared's crime scene was a match to Danny's DNA. But by this point, for Jared, his statute of limitations had run out. When the police did search Danny's house after getting the search warrant in July 2015, they eventually arrested him in October 2015 for child pornography, which was found in the home. He faced 25 federal charges, for which he accepted a plea deal, and then he confessed to Jacob's murder. He proved to investigators that it was him by leading them to the burial site on August 31, 2016. Jacob's remains were removed from a pasture about 30 miles from his home and confirmed to be him through dental records. Danny testified to the crime and confessed to handcuffing the child, driving him to Painesville gravel pit and molesting him before shooting him and burying him there. He was sentenced to 20 years for child pornography, but the plea deal he took prevented him from being convicted for Jacob's death. The boy's legacy became a huge deal and his parents formed a resource centre under his name to advocate for children's safety. Then a law was passed in 1994, the first American law in history, Jacob Wetterling Act, to mandate that each state maintain a sex offender registry.